0. And otherwise, if you move it, you'll see it's 100% on.
Well, don't you want 100% so I can hear it?
No, it's nothing to do with that's your computer sound. It's not anything to do with it. Hello for anyone on streaming. We have another casual night tonight. Good evening, everyone. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286. Patricia and David on the air here. And what is the date today? It is the 25th of November as the season runs down. And very casual net we're running at the moment. We've only got one boat out there, Phil on Silhouette. We have had a dry day here today. It was meant to be wet, so I didn't do the laundry, but it was dry. And it's currently a very high overcast. Well, I put down 95%, but that was 10 minutes ago, so it's 100% now. 22 degrees, muggy, not very comfortable for David. 1015.6 steady. We've got this anticyclone beside us, and it's doing a magnificent job of keeping away the effects of the low in mid-Tasman. Otherwise, we would not have very pleasant weather. It's 8 to 12 knots from the northeast at the moment. So that's the news from here, and I'll see what the news is like. Hopefully Phil has woken up. He would have had a really, really good sleep last night because I think he was going to attack David's satellite interpretation paper, and that would have given him a really good sleep. Phil, are you there? This is Gulf Harbour Radio. Yeah, not as booming as normal, but I have got you coming through both locally on my antenna and from Kaio, so that's good. But yeah, all good hopefully with you. I'm wondering if one of the boats left, not the one that's on the AIS, but the British boat. There was a British boat that looks as if it might have come from North Minerva. Is that correct, over? Yep, roger that. Looks like he might be heading to Australia, because he's certainly not coming down here. Mind you, the wind conditions wouldn't help him come down here at the moment, so who knows. Anyway, back to you for your report, over. No, not indeed. In fact, I said to David earlier on, well, when is Phil actually going to be able to leave? And then I looked at the anticyclone and I thought, yeah, well, not for a bit. But anyway, what's it like at the moment, over?
Okay, at the moment it's overcast. Wind is southwest at 13 knots. Barometer 1004.8. Over.
Okay, yeah, now you've got a good clear copy tonight. It's interesting because everyone's been moaning that we have a ham radio net. I keep forgetting to ask if you're a ham on the mornings, marine net. And boy, of course, there have been some terrible weather reports from Australia because we have people on both sides of the Tasman. But the propagation has just been dreadful on 14 megs. But, you know, we haven't had any problems at all, really, over?
Yeah, it's reasonably clear, almost like you're on VHF, and yes, I can't wait for.
Oh, roger that. Well, it might work in with your skid when you're on the way. It's 14315 at what is it, 2100 UTC, which is 10 o'clock our time. 10 a.m. in the morning. It's a dreadful time for daylight saving because it cuts into your morning. But yeah, 14315 at 10 o'clock New Zealand time, which is 2100 UTC. Actually, I'm on the net control tomorrow because I've swapped with somebody. So if you've got nothing on, there's people on both sides of the Tasman. And yeah, you can sort of hear what's going on there and here. So, right, well, I'm just going to see what David might have for you. I'll pass the microphone.
Oh, hi, Phil. I'm glad you got a good night's sleep. And thank you for the work you did on your data from the last 2 days, I guess it is. So you were done by noon today. And comparing I see you like GFS, and it looks like the winds were mostly in agreement with GFS, and I was looking at EC for those times, and they were a little bit higher in some cases, but for noon today, they actually were dead on in my GFS. At the time I looked at the computer anyway, had a little bit higher wind than you had. So EC was the winner for me. Yeah, so what I've done with the satellite imagery is I've used the plus and minus on windy, and I've gotten it so I'm looking at the almost the bight of Australia, east to Tahiti, and south into the deep ocean. And if you're able to do that, you will see a number of storms that have that comet shape. And there's a very, very big one to the southwest of New Zealand. It's a monster. There's one near Tasmania. There's another one just to the southwest of Tasmania. They give you an idea of what to look for when you see a real storm that has that type of shape, that comet shape to it. And so we went from a tropical cyclone to is now officially a subtropical cyclone. So I think the subtropics they probably consider about 20 south. Maybe there was officially subtropical. It was subtropical. It's just words. Anyway, and the low is really moving now. It's as you can see, going more or less south-southeast, and we've got a high to the east of New Zealand. And if you do that on your satellite image, get a good large-sized picture, you'll see how what that high looks like. It's got right on the perimeter of the high, the northern perimeter. It's got a whole series of cloud that follows the isobars around all the way to New Zealand. And that's the edge of the high. Now that high is holding back that low. There was some thoughts that it might swing toward New Zealand, but that high is acting like a blocking high, so it's going to force that low to scoot around the more or less the northeast part of the high. Yeah, it's just a barrier, just keeping it from coming down at the moment. And it's hard to pick out. I was trying to locate the center of it, looking at imagery, and I can tell where it is, but it's really hard to see. I don't know if you've had any luck at where you are and where it is in relation to where Wendy says it is, but they're fairly close, I think. So yeah. So back to your report. I appreciate that, and I hope you learned something doing that. And that really almost isn't fair on the models because we're looking at almost the same day with the models. Say what you really should do if you've got the time is to go out 5 days and pick a spot. If you're still in Minerva, just use that spot and look at what the conditions are and all. Just use the two, use EC and GFS, and then see what happens when that 5 days is up. Who was correct in looking out 5 days? So that's what I try to tell people when they're planning a voyage is to do that. Their ETAs are much more important than their departure times because particularly coming into New Zealand, you don't want to be coming in with a depression nearby and a cold front, one of the nasty cold fronts that we get. So you go out well, you can go out with windy 10 days, depends how much windy that you can get, but I can go 10 to 15 days out and look at what the estimate is for the weather, say at New Zealand at that time. But do it for almost every day out, and then as every day goes by, closer to that, if you haven't left, just see which of the models actually is calling it. And that's really a good way to learn which ones have got the handle. thing I was going to say on models to you is that if you look up on the internet, I guess it's the best model, the best global models I'm talking about. They will give a skill score to the models, and of course, the higher the skill score, as it sounds, the better the model. And DC tends to come on top, over and above GFS. But the problem with that analysis is they're looking at it as a global model, where we are looking, all we care about is what's going on in the Southwest Pacific. So none of that means anything in our area unless you can get the data for all of them for our area. Because where EC say is number one, and our area, GFS may be number one. And you could even take it down further. There's some areas in the Southwest Pacific where none of the models are ever right. And on the other hand, one's better than the other. So it's like I said, they're just ideas. So yeah, I guess I'm rambling on this. And yeah, I'm still looking at Australia at the moment. If you look at IR, if you have it on there, my God, the thunderstorms are just popping away all up and down Australia. And they have a tropical cyclone up in the northwest. So that's another good one to look at if you're interested in what they look like on imagery. Yeah, I forgot the name of it. Chris, you remember what it's called? Anyway, it's there. It's on the northwest side of Australia at the moment. But yeah, these big thunderheads in Australia, they are just popping away with thunderstorms. We were talking to a friend who lives in
Townsville.
Yeah, he lives up in the
Townsville
area. Yeah, and he was talking about this one outfit that had a solar panel farm, and every one of them were broken by hail coming down. And anybody who had solar panels, I'm sure, had the same problem. These hailstones came down and destroyed so much, and it was unbelievable. So anyway, that's enough for me. Back to you. Over.
I do have the always moisturizing and get past the I do see the cyclone is kicking on northwest Australia, also see the and the thing is it's also Sydney all the way up to the central part of Australia. Next would be the Indian high, and I do see a band of clouds will take from Auckland up to the area a little bit west of Gilport, Target. Would this be edge of the high you're referring to, Paul?
Roger that. That's the edge of the high. And you can look at the clouds to the south of that ridge of cloud that you see, and you can tell that they're different kind of clouds. I've got such I'm looking so far away, I can't quite make out what they are. But you'd be able to determine what type of cumulus they are. Whether the air is cold. If you look down in the southeast part of that cloud band, the wind, the weather would be much colder, and those clouds would be more definitive. Then you maybe could pick up donut-shaped clouds, like I talked in the paper, and so forth and so on. And then if you look to the west, if you look to the southwest of New Zealand, there's a monster storm, and you can see the big comet cloud. Do you see that? Over? Roger, you need to go out a little bit more to see the big storm. You need to hit the minus another couple of times. Over.
Repeat that.
You hit your minus a couple more times,
Go out.
and you go out a little bit, and you'll be able to see this big monster storm, big comet-shaped cloud. Over. Roger. So that's what a very typical storm looks like. A huge depression. That particular one is immense. It's not going to affect New Zealand at all, but the airflow from it is going to wind up coming up to the New Zealand area, and the South Island is going to get colder temperatures that they're not used to. Expecting summer, and here they're getting colder temperatures. Then if you look to the northwest of that big storm, you'll see a smaller comma that's just south of Tasmania. You see that? Over. Okay, well, that's it then. Not much else to talk about. If you are interested in this, t- what am I trying to say? Come in closer to them and get a little bit more detail on them, and just file them away in your memory, so you'll know what to be looking for in the future. Over. Well, you are a bright fellow. You're doing. I can't believe I do have this recorded. Actually, Trish has the training on it. I will have to tell other people to listen to you say that, because that's precisely what I'm trying to get most of the cruisers to do. And so that's how you got your information. And well done to you there, Phil. Well done. Over. Roger that, but the only caveat is you just did it the one time, and the models can change another month, and it could be the other way around. So just be careful with that. Over.
When you finish the to-do list. Sorry. Yeah, I was just commenting, when you finish the to-do list, when you get here. I remember when we were cruising, we were getting grids and things, and the problem then with GFS was that it tended to blow up things like it would notice that there would be a pressure drop, and it might only be 1 or 2 millibars, but it would sort of create a load, and you go, oh god. But it was just the mathematics of the whole thing. It just decided that that's what it should label that feature, and it would just be a sort of a passing feature, and things would settle down a bit more. But that was a while ago now, of course, because we haven't been cruising for 15 years. So yeah. What is your handful sign, Phil? I'll write it down in my log. Okay, got that. Whiskey 5 Papa Alpha Delta. Yeah, I'm Kilo 6 Alpha Hotel Sierra. Because I actually got my hand license in California. Before we left, I thought I'd better do something. My dad was a big radio man. And I messed around for years because I was always travelling and mucking around. And then I decided we were going to go cruising, that I better get onto it and get my Morse done. That was sort of holding me back a bit. So I did the Morse, and so I left, and then I upgraded. Where were we? In Panama, I think. Upgraded in Panama because we were waiting to get across. No, I can't remember why we were waiting. Oh, that's right, waiting for the transit. So somebody organised a ham exams, so I decided I had nothing better to do than to upgrade it. So then I got the call sign. Dad, when I grew up, my the radio here was in my bedroom, so Alpha Hotel Sugar, as it was from my father, sort of put me to sleep each night because he was on the air to America, so that's why I chose the AHS. And he then upgraded to RK, so my call sign here is ZL2 Radio Kilo, and that's what I'll use tomorrow morning is Zulu Lima 2 Radio Kilo. We used to have a sort of an orderly system in New Zealand where the top half of the North Island was ZL1, the bottom half was ZL2, and similarly ZL3, top half of the South Island, and ZL4. But everyone moved around so much and wanted to keep their suffix that they scrapped that. So now it's sort of whoever wants one is available. Yes, and David is KF6 Victor Yankee, is that right? Yeah, KF6. No, you're ZL2 Victor Yankee.
ZL2 Victor Yankee.
But what about your American one, KF6? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
No, it doesn't matter because he's not there. Back to you, Phil. Yep, my call sign in New Zealand is ZL2 Romeo Kilo, ZL2 RK. Over. Yep, Alpha Hotel Sierra, K6 Alpha Hotel Sierra, and we can't remember what David's American one is because he really used it. And in fact, he only got it towards the end when we were, it was quite funny, we were in Mexico and we would butt around doing stuff, talking to each other in Morse to get him ready for the Morse test, and then he flew back to South Carolina to visit his mother, and some hands kindly came and tested him there. So, but that meant he could just get his New Zealand license when he got here. Yeah, we were chuckling because people in the bus thought we were nuts talking Morse code to each other. Yeah. All right, well, there's nothing much more from us here. We'll leave you to your study of the clouds, and yes, it's always good to get good definition, so what's wrong is wrong, and it is truly wrong, and what's right is right. So, yeah, nothing much more from here, Phil. We'll talk to you again tomorrow night. Over. Roger that, and I better do a call in case there's anybody else lurking on the side. Is there anybody else wanting to make contact with us or Phil on Silhouette? No, nothing here. There's a bit of radar noise by the sound of it coming up at the moment. All right, Phil, have a good night. We are clear. Cheers.